How long have they been here?
This lady over a month to some 2 months.
This lady looks so thin. Ask what's happened to her. Look at the state of her hands, her arms. She can hardly walk. Wait, carefully go. Wow, her arms. Look at her arms. I can put my entire hand round. She is so thin. Are we going to try and get her onto a boat? There are old people. There are babies. Many of them are talking about being here for over a month. Clearly not had very much to eat at all. A lot of them extremely thin and very frail. And all showing extreme signs of desperation. Look.
They want help.
Yeah, they want help. They want help. They're crying out for help.
She's shivering out of fear rather than cold. This is Rakhine State, the centre of the Myanmar military's brutal crackdown, and we are the first outsiders here, the first to independently see what's being denied by the Myanmar authorities. The wailing is haunting. But no one is listening. Thousands of them are trapped on this beach alone, waiting for help, which has so far failed to arrive. In the shadows you can see tents made from plastic sheeting. Some of them have been here for 2 months. They fled here after the Myanmar military stormed their villages and burnt their homes.
The military has taken her husband away. She's got 3 little kids. She's got no money to go anywhere.
The Myanmar soldiers have planted landmines beyond this beach, so thousands are trapped here.
There's over a month she's been out here.
There's a 19-year-old who's given birth the day before. Her baby has no clothes and has barely recovered from being delivered. The little ones are learning early on. As Rohingya Muslims, they're among the most persecuted people on earth right now. As we draw close to Bangladesh, the captain warns everyone to leave the boat quickly. But it's not over yet. They're running into a country which doesn't want them.
You know, this has been going on for years now. It's been years that there's been just horrific, over-the-top persecution. They have literal concentration camps in Myanmar. Nick Kristof actually went to them and was like, I can't believe what I'm fucking witnessing here. There's been stories of mobs that burn down entire villages, kill children. And what's crazy is that the leader in Myanmar has a Nobel Peace Prize. What kind of fucking backwards world do we live in? And she denies this problem up and down. But there's been, you know, a few instances of cameras sneaking in and seeing exactly what's happening, and it's as bad as the worst critics make it out to be. So, look, this is an area where, people, it's hilarious that people like to argue against me because they say, you know, hey, he's too non-interventionist, that it doesn't make any sense. And, like, he would allow, like, a genocide to unfold and not do anything. That's not at all true, because oftentimes I mention how the only time I want to use unilateral U.S. force is to defend the nation. Because that's the only time it makes sense. When we're under direct threat of attack, and it's to defend us. So no offensive war is ever all defensive when we use unilateral force. If you want to do it internationally, you want to have the UN, you want to have the US be among a group of people, not just the only people, well then yes, that's what the UN is about. So if it's to stop a genocide, do I think there should be UN peacekeepers in Yemen? Well, number one, I think in Yemen, the U.S. should immediately cut off all weapons to Saudi Arabia, and should immediately stop assisting them in their fucking blockade, tell them to end the blockade. I would do sanctions against them. I would immediately get them to stop what they're doing there. But do I think UN peacekeepers should be used after that? Of course. In the case of Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar, yes, UN peacekeepers, 100%. And these are both areas, Yemen and Myanmar, where I would send a lot of humanitarian aid. There are things that we can do. There are absolutely things that we can do, but we don't want to do them because we don't actually care about human rights. And it's not, again, there's a difference between unilateral, so just by ourselves going to fight wars and shit, versus the UN, the international community together going in to take care of a problem. We can all acknowledge this is a problem and this needs to be addressed, and this is something international community should work on together. This is something we can send humanitarian aid. Same in Yemen, force Saudi Arabia to do the right thing, force the government in Myanmar to do the right thing through sanctions or something. There are actions you could take. We're doing none of them. In fact, we're actively on the wrong side in many of these fights, which goes to show you that our concern is not what we say it is. It's not humanitarian. I wish it was, and I'm sure you do too.